used to do this as well. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Right. You're not going to guess. I know you think I'm going to say the ugly is Donna. You're not really on the ball there. Hi, my YouTube friends, my besties. Oh, wow. What a week. Georgia did it. She did it. Listen, you know I'm dead honest about everything, and I've said things with regards to Georgia and Sarah. I've not anything thingy to say about Sarah because she's absolutely been brilliant all along, I felt. But you know that I was worried about Georgia, especially like about a year ago and coming into this year, because we hadn't really seen her in action too much, and I wasn't. I was dead honest. I wasn't that impressed with the way she'd been with Mag Banner. I thought she'd been soft on her. I felt like she'd been soft on Charlie. Doesn't matter because she got the results. I know that. And it looks like she gave Mag Banner a kick up the arse and all to start speaking the truth. Although Mag Banner has slid a little bit on there. People have pointed it out. I might do something on that. I don't know. But listen, well done, Georgia. You was absolutely mint, as they say in our neck of the woods. She was absolutely fantastic. She was on it. You know, like I've always said that about Sarah, because Sarah's young, and people that are young are all over it. And then once you get to mine and George's age, you know, like in our 40s. Oh, shut up. No, once you start getting like a little bit older, especially like my age, I'm a dinosaur, then you're constantly pausing for thought. You see me do it, we've talked about it. But listen, Georgia, it's like her adrenaline was just going. You could see it.
To these, okay, I want to hit one more thing. Don't call time on me. 2 years after the murder, we've got two emails, 64T and 64I. The defense told you in opening that this defendant cares about others more than she cares about herself. The problem is that she decides what other people need, what's necessary for other people in their lives, and she is willing to justify whatever ends she thinks are needed, right? Any means to get to those ends are justified in her mind. The problem is she doesn't care about the collateral damage to get to her ends. The evidence has shown that this defendant, I think, did believe that Wendi and those boys were better off in South Florida. She thought that's what they needed. They would be better off with her, and she was angry that that couldn't happen. Dan Markel is the thing standing in the way. What was the cost of that to not only Dan Markel, but to those little boys? Those little boys lost their father. Look what she says in 64T. Children are 2 and 3. Children do not even have a memory of life before age 5 or 6. Look what she says in 64II when Wendi is concerned. This is 2 years after the murder. Her child is having trouble at school, crying because he misses his father. And this woman, this nice grandmother, innocent woman, says, quote, "I still do not believe that Ben is sad about his father." Quotations on the sad. 64II. "I still do not believe that Ben is sad about his father. I spend a minimum of 25 hours a week with him, and oftentimes more than that, including weekend times and sleepover days, and have never experienced a time when he was sad. I think it's just another phase of the many, many phases that kids go through. The problem is they have a highly intelligent and sensitive mom." She doesn't believe that this kid is sad because she can't take accountability for her own actions and the catastrophic consequences that this had on everyone's life in her family. Not just her son, not just her daughter, not just Rob, not just Dan Markel, but those boys who lost their father.
We're going to do like the good, the bad, and the ugly. No, I never said Donna was ugly. We're going to do like like key points in the trial. Like I said, I have covered a couple of them like last week. So I just want to do like a couple of things that really stood out to me, a couple of things that really, in a nice way, I could have done without. Now, do you know what did shock me? That Everett wanted to sentence her there and then. Don't waste your time, will you? Get her straight in that bloody prison cell. I did laugh to myself when he said, more or less, like, there's no reason why we can't do the sentencing now. And of course, her attorney stood up and said, Your Honour, can you give me more time? I mean, oh God, I nearly swore then. I nearly said, she's had 11 years. But tell me what you thought when they... Right, you know what I thought? Like when they said guilty to her and you could see it was like lightning through her body. She shook. But do you know what? Obviously we was all sat there with our fingers crossed, like for us there's no other way. But do you know what I thought straight away? When I seen her jolt like that, I thought, yeah, that's you and the rest of the Adelsons all over. You're so delusional. You've all been so delusional. Like, money can buy you out of everything. I mean, if you think about all her witnesses, that there was, I'm not sure if they weren't, every one of them was paid for. And I just thought, I didn't even, which I was a bit ashamed of myself because I've told you I'm a bit of a soft touch. It's like I'm getting hardened in my old age. But I expected, like, if anybody would have said that to me and she shut like with a bolt through, how would you have reacted? And I probably would have said, probably would have like had a pang for her, like felt a little bit tidgy, little bit sorry for her. But I was surprised myself. I was like, yeah, just so typical, Donna.
Having reviewed the verdict form, it is in its proper order. At this time, I will publish the verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the indictment. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3 of the indictment. Solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And it is signed and dated by the foreperson. One moment. Members of the jury, the bailiff will escort you to the jury room. Mrs. Adelson, while this was not the outcome I'm sure that you desired, there will not be any further outbursts in front of the jury. If you cannot control yourself, I am going to have to determine if you will be removed from the remainder of this process. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Yes. Do you need a moment to collect yourself? Before the jurors are brought back in, we will take a brief 2-minute break. Please give her tissues if she needs them.
did you actually believe you was going to get off? The other thing that I thought about as well, credit to them, because they didn't have anything to work with, did they? Jackie Fulford, yeah, I know she did some daft things. We know that. But like, I mean, what did she have thrown at her? A bag of rubbish. Do something with that on the stand. You know, she had nothing to work with, and you know, she did okay at times. She did really well. I could imagine her with a genuine case. Not that this isn't genuine. I mean a genuine client. She would do, I think she would do really well for him. But there's one thing that I can say about them two. Unlike Rushbourne, they've earned their money. So if they get a swimming pool, unlike Rushbourne, they've earned it. I don't mean unlike him not getting one, because he got one. But I mean, they have earned their money. They did everything she wanted, but wasn't she defiant? Absolutely defiant, constantly. This is the rest of my life. That's why I did that short. Like, your life. How many years have you got? You know, you've probably had that many years already free. You know, and from 41 was Dan, 41, 42, it is gone. And you've had your life, like she said to Harvey, you know, we've had a good life, we've had a good marriage. I love the way, like, she nearly talked him into, don't you? We'll do it together. I bet he thought, no, thank you, they're not after me. I don't think they want me. Well, they do, obviously, but I bet he thought, no, do it on your own. Right, so tonight we're going to do the good, the bad and the ugly. So, I kind of covered the good in this case. And the two, I'm not going to say key witnesses, because I do think that it was a conglomerate of witnesses that brought this together. The detectives. But the two for me is Rob and Lacaz. Absolutely fantastic. First of all, like Rob, I can't imagine what it was like for him growing up. I actually do think that, obviously, I mean, Charlie's always tried to get his nose in and, like, you know, stroke my head, you know, never mind them. And she's not, it looks like he's not had the attention that he needed, and that's why he's gone and done this for her. Don't get me wrong, I've got no sympathy for him whatsoever if you've got to do that to be liked. Whereas Rob stood on his feet and faced her and said, you know, I'm like, obviously he was divorcing the wife that he married, which is awful, and it was awful for that lady as well. And I'm going to run my own life, and that's what he went and did. But I bet he has flashbacks, you know, to being not even a child, even growing up, to not agreeing and throwing him aside because he was with somebody that she didn't want him to be with, and then being all nice to him when she'd actually got through to him. But it makes you wonder, what did she actually say to him to make him walk away from his true love and marry, you know, this girl that had to be Jewish? It just makes you wonder what she said. And I bet whatever she said and the way she treated him, she reeled in the whole family, because at one stage the whole family weren't speaking to him. And that wasn't while they were going on about this murder. That was what was happening, to do with him leaving that his wife that he's with now to marry a Jewish woman. Wendi fell out with him. Charlie, they all fell out with him because that's what Donna wanted, demanded. Yeah, so, you know, that must have been really, really hard for him. And of course we all know that he's apologised to the Markels, like he needs to apologise. but at least he has on behalf of them that that can't. Do you know what? Just let me say this as well. You know, when they'd found Donna guilty, and she was absolutely like crying, and well, I don't know. Still, even then, I didn't see tears. She was, a temper went, didn't it? But even then, she was like, no, and I'm thinking, why are you feeling sorry for yourself? You know what you've done. You've roped everybody in. You was going to desert your son. Well, you did desert your son and left him in Nick and was going to go off to Vietnam. And your son shines for yourself. And she's looking at Harvey as though to say, look, you know, like they've got it all wrong. I mean, absolutely delusional. Absolutely conned at themselves. Never mind tried to con us. I mean, we won't be conned. We only got to look at him. But the whole family have this trait. I don't know about Harvey because we've not seen his personality. So we've not seen that. But we know that Charlie has this, not the whole family, Rob, that we're talking about, hasn't. But we know that Charlie has this, you know, pay for what you want. You know, if you want that pretty Asian woman, girl, young girl, pay for her. You know, get her bags, do this, do that. That's how he's gone. But he's been taught to do that. And don't forget, you know, Donna's gone through life buying and doing what she wants with Harvey's money. But it was with Harvey's money. I know she managed the dentist and everything, but it was Harvey's money, and it's like she decides where it's going and what's going on with it. And yet for some reason, like Rob thought outside the box, and after being manipulated and bullied, he was bullied. You know, he stood on his own 2 feet, thank God, and is happy with a wife and children and everything else. And I'm so glad that he did separate away from them. But some of his evidence was absolutely ridiculous, you know, like for him to call up to say, you know, oh, you know, they've got somebody, haven't they? And Donna say, don't speak to the FBI. And he said, well, I already have. And she said, well, you don't know anything anyway. And puts the phone down on him. Like he's a piece of nothing. That's her son. And you see, that's why it's been so easy for him. Because he mentally is healed by having a mother like that. He's come to terms with it and healed, and he can see her for what she is. With regards Lacaz, I've said this before. The reason why I feel sorry for Lacaz is because Wendi subjected him to all this, which has taken up 10 years of his life, in the prime of his life, when he should be, and I think he has, getting married with kids. And it's only in spite of her that he's been able to carry on with his life. And, you know, both Rob and Lacaz have overcome the Donna and the Wendi, because Donna and Wendi are, cut from the same cloth. Or, as they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and it really doesn't. I do tend to think, I'm making no excuses for him, I do tend to think, though, that I don't think Charlie really ticks like them. I think he does money-wise. I think he does throw money at things. And I think all that, when we heard him on the phone to Meg Benham about how to get rid of somebody, and you better do this, you better do that. I think a lot of that is bravado, you know. Like, we heard him, what it was like speaking to who we thought was a gangster. By the way, I didn't think that detective was very good at that, I must say. I think I could have done a bit better myself. Anyway, No, I don't think. I think everything Charlie's done, he's done it for a pat on the head. I've always had my analogy on this crime right from the very start, before Wendi was the prime suspect, which she is. And I've always said, Wendi put the key in the ignition, Donna put her foot on the gas, and Charlie just didn't know how to brake. And that is how I see it. Like, Charlie was just, am I making you happy, mummy? And it's the only way he could get the attention. He craved the attention. And even through all that, she was telling people not to tell him that she was going to Vietnam within a week of his verdict. Within a week, she was going. Yeah. Right. And Lacaz, like I said, Lacaz, in spite of her, has had his life, in spite of Wendi as well, has built his life. Thank whoever, he has built a life for himself. And it appears to me, not the first few years, but obviously the last good few years, Wendy's just like, it's almost like she's on the run. Those lads are at those years where they're seeing stuff on the internet, and Wendi has just took them away from their friends, their little girlfriends, their little sports clubs, their hobbies, the clubs that they're a part of. She's just took them away, and then I believe she's moved again, and she's just done it again. How can that be caring for your children? That is control to a fault, and that is exactly why a mother is where she is. Right, let's just lighten things a bit up now, Dawn. You're getting a bit heavy here. I am ecstatic though. I'm absolutely. Have you all been a bit like that? Have you all been sort of like dead giddy? I bet like our family and friends wonder why, that we're all like on cloud nine. Listen to this. My son called round today, just off the mark quickly. He called round today because I've not been well. He was taking me shopping, right, just so that he can just keep his eye on me, because I was really, really bad, a lot worse than I let on really. So he was taking me just to make sure. Blah. Anyway, when he come in the house, I said to him, just hang on, just watch this. And he said, Mum, what? And I said, just watch this verdict. And he went, I'm not interested. He's not lying. My son has never seen one of my videos. I've never even told my whole family. Like I've said, there's only a handful of people that know, that friends and family, handful of people. And my son won't watch my videos. He went, I can't, that's too surreal. But I said to him, just watch this. And he said, I'm not interested. And I made him watch the verdict, with Donna. I said, you don't understand. We've been doing this, like, I've been doing this for years, sort of thing. Like, you've got to just watch it. He went, oh, go on then, go on, press the button. And he went, ooh. He went, God, like, that was a reaction, man. Just trying to shut me up, really. Anyway, let's lighten things up, like I said. So, we've done the good. Oh, I've done the good. You used to do this as well. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Right. You're not going to guess. I know you think I'm going to say the ugly is Donna. You're not really on the ball there. But anyway, right, the bad. First of all, I've just mentioned it before, and I've done a video on it. Her, the contentious divorce lawyer woman. Okay. So I mentioned her before, and I've done a mini video on her and all that lot. The contentious, I can't think of her name. And do you know what? I don't like her that much. I don't even want to go and look up her name. I mean, I might not even put her name in the description. I probably won't. With the contentious divorce. She was paid to go there and say that. So she's one of my baddies. She really, no. And she was so blasé, and she went on and on and on. When they asked her one question, she went on and on and on. trying to convince us that this was just like a normal divorce. And I thought, how do you sleep at night? You know exactly what's going on here. And she didn't care the fact that that courtroom was filled with people supporting the Markels. And she knows that the Markels know about that divorce. She knows that George Kappelman and Sarah have seen everything to do with those emails. She knows that we've all seen them, and yet she still sits there saying no. And she kept comparing it to I've had worse. And so that was a good analogy what Georgia did with regards to, I thought that was really, really good when she said the trash, but the bin men, the trash men, sorry, we say things different, don't we, because I'm from the UK, but, the trash men might not think that it's smelly at all. And I thought it was brilliant, a good point. She said, do you see what I'm saying? No. I thought, right, you do, but you're just winding us up now, because how could you be in her position and have her job and not understand what she's saying? So she knew exactly the point that George Kappelman was trying to make. So she really, really pissed me off. Now, listen, I'm going to be fair. So I have picked one on the defence. So I'm not, for a baddie, I'm going to pick one from the prosecution. Have a little guess to yourself. I'm just getting a name. Have a little guess. Who do you think it could be? Right, she was absolutely valuable. But her name is Kate Butler, the handwriting analyst. Right, listen. Okay, she was worth a weight in gold. But the fact was, she was on the stand for 5 minutes, giving her name and a job description and how she does things. 5 minutes before they had a chance to ask her any questions to do with the case. And I know she had to, well, I'm not sure that she had to explain how she did it all. I mean, when they spoke to Isom and Newsom and Sanford and, what do you do? Oh, you state your name and, what you do. That's what Georgia said. I'm Detective Isom, retired, and I was a detective. Detective Sanford said his name, and I'm a detective with the Leon County. Well, that done. No, 5 minutes later, and the way I do this, because they said, "What does your job entail?" And instead of just saying I'm a handwriting analyst and mainly work for, I don't know, obviously cases like this. I thought it was really interesting, how they found all the little ticks and all that lot on all the letters. I thought it was really interesting when we actually got the writing up there and she's shown us. But the start of it, I just thought, flipping heck, I'm dropping to sleep here. Just get on with it. So she was. She wasn't a baddie. She was a goodie, really. Look at her being so biased. But no, she drove me mad. She did drive me mad. Right, so the ugly for me was Donna Adelson's cardigans did absolutely nothing for her. And I bet Harvey's looking at him and think, I might as well take all them back and send them back for as much good as it did her, trying to make her look like this little old woman. That was the ugly for me, dressing her like that. Every day, a blouse and this cardigan. Can I just say to anybody that's got a cardigan like that or cardigans like that, it's no offence, right? We can all dress like that when behind closed doors. Oh God, I'm going to get myself in trouble. But you don't go to court like that, do you? I mean, like, come on. She didn't dress like that. She didn't dress, I mean, I wouldn't expect her to have a bar mitzvah dress on or nothing like that. But I would have expected her to just, more sporty. Can I tell you something as well that I spotted? I did say when they got her in the airport and we saw her walking, and she and I said then she's very sprightly, because her and Harvey used to go to the gym 3 times a week, so they are both quite sprightly. And I noticed watching Harvey walk in the court one day, I thought, flipping heck. I mean, I know everybody went on about his shoes, and I did think to myself, yeah, well, you're not going to fall over in them. I'm being nasty. Just ignore me. But he's sprightly, and she's sprightly. And I thought, yeah, you both, obviously, looked after yourself. You can afford to do all that. But don't forget, in between, we've seen her, all this shuffling. We saw all the bravado in the back of the van. And then she was on a stretcher, chair, all this lot. And then we've seen her going through motions and everything in court quite a few times, and all the shaking and the lip quivering. And we've seen it all with her. You go back and have a look at that video where she's with, I've forgotten her name, Briard, her sunshine, her prison daughter. Well, she'll be able to have Wendi soon. She'll have 2. She can call them the sunshines, can't she? I know she calls her a sunshine, but she can have a sunshines, because she'll have Wendi as well. Anyway, you watch her in that jail. Sorry, I said prison. In that jail, and she walks to the bathroom or something. She's sprightly. She's still sprightly. She's not a bit like all that like she is in court. I know she wasn't putting it on as thick with the walking, but she's not like just walking. You watch her in that jail.
The foreground of the video.
At one point.
Towards the right?
It does.
Who's walking up now?
Miss Adelson.
Yeah, you could tell when she got given that news. Like I said, Judge Everett had me laughing. I can't see why we can't do the sentencing now. I just thought, you're probably thinking, I can't stand another day with this woman again, because we know, could you imagine her saying to her attorney, no, it doesn't suit me, that jail. I don't want to go to that jail, that prison. I'm not going to that prison. I can't have my tablet there. Oh, God. No, he just wanted to have her done. Dusted, on your way, out of here. That's what I wanted to speak about. One of the other guts. So, Ruth and Phil Markel's victim statements, really, really heartwarming and so tragic, and you could just feel everything for them. I did say in the other video as well, like those two look like they look better recently, because obviously one's, they've got another one down, or another one on trial. So, and I think they knew that it was in the bag, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, both their speeches was really, really nice. But Phil's particularly stuck with me for the reason that when he said at the end, which I believe Rupert said in the past, was it worth it? Was it worth it, Donna? And Donna's still like going like this. you know, like, to everybody, and I'm thinking, what you doing? You're guilty. And you're at it, she's like this, like, you've got it wrong. And I thought, how can you, you know, how do you look in the mirror? But she's used to it, isn't she? It's the way she is. And I'm glad that Phil said it. Was it worth it? Because we all know, and she knows. I just wish somebody, you know, would say, you know, was Wendi worth it? What Wendi wanted, was she worth it? Because she threw you all under the bus. And honestly, I'm not shouting my own praises, but I saw that in Wendi right at the start. I'll be honest with you. Between Wendi and Donna, I think Donna is the better actress and capable, more well versed in acting. We know that she's gone on Google and all this lot, but I kind of thought that was to tell Wendi. I don't know, but she's well versed in how to get what she wants. Whereas like Wendi is getting a bit ridiculous now that I flutter into the jury, and she actually looked when Georgia Kappelman's walking past to make sure that, you know, she's walking away so that she can turn and do it. But she's like in her mid-40s, and I just think, like, do you not realise how ridiculous you look? And she does all this pouting constantly, and she does all this, you know. Don't ask me to do it. But she does all that. And I just think, honestly, everybody can see through you. But like I said, Donna, when Donna was in the back of the van, I did actually think, crikey. And then I woke up and smelt the coffee, and realised it's Donna Adelson, Dawn. You can't believe a word out of her mouth. Then, did you notice as well? Like, obviously, every time she wanted something in court, like when she wanted to move to have a tablet, when she wanted more time with her lawyers, every time something came up, she was like this, shaking, and, you know, like everybody was picking on her, and, you know, she, like I've just mentioned about, like, with the walking, but she'd be like that. Oh, I can't even do I look like Donna, everyone? Don't say yes. But she'd be like shaking and everything, wouldn't she? And like, for the last 2 weeks, have we seen that? No, none of it. I mean, I have wondered whether those earphones was necessary. I mean, she did keep putting them on, so they must have been. But at one stage, I thought I had them on her cheek. They were down here. Unless that's where her face starts, I don't know. I'm just being nasty now. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you tonight. To my patrons, I'll see you over the weekend. Definitely. If you haven't hit the like button, if you could just help the channel out and just hit that like, I'd really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, I wish that you was, and I hope you do, and come back and see me. And I don't think I've got anything. Just give me the good, the bad, and the ugly. Should I say? No, I won't say that you can't pick mine. You can pick mine if you want. But it'd be interesting. But definitely, Donna's cardigans go in the ugly basket. And like I said, Harvey, he's on the way back to the store with them now, getting his money back. Kudos back. Anyway, do you know what? Right. 2 things else that I need to ask you. Again, I want your help on something. Don't forget, I do want to know how long the jury was out. I don't know. Also, who do you think is next? Wendi or Harvey? You see, I actually think you know, they could get Harvey and they could just say, Dawn, do you want to come over and, you know, put Harvey on the stand and, yeah, I'll do it for you. I just think he's going to be so easy. I think he's going to be so easy. There was something else I was going to ask you. Oh, I know what it was. With regards getting a warrant for Wendi, I'm sure that I've heard that they have to wait for once a month. I'm going to say this wrong, but something like once a month, the High Court have a meeting and then they distribute the warrants. I can't see as that's right, because sometimes you need, like, they needed a warrant straight away that day for Donna at the airport. So I don't know. I don't know where I've heard that. And I thought, how can that be? So anyway, just tell me how they get the warrants and if they can get emergency warrants. We know they must be able to, because like I said, they got Donna like that. So, but that's what somebody said. Anyway, yeah, Wendi or Harvey. I just wanted to... Do you know what I did think? I'll go in a minute. Things just keep popping into my head. Do you know what I did think? I thought, if they get Wendi next, then I wonder if Donna, or whether Donna has said this yet to Harvey. Right, listen, everything that we was going to leave for Wendi in the inheritance and trust funds for the children in Wendi's name, take them out of Wendi's name and put them in, I don't know, a cousin of Wendi's, or, well, they're not going to use Rob, are they? So, I don't know. Yeah. Or, if Harvey's next, I wonder if he's already signed everything over. Don't forget, I told you a long, long time ago. I don't mean I told you because I'm right. I told you because this is what I thought. Wendi didn't care about anybody going down apart from her father, and that was just to sign everything over to her, so she would be the sole inheritance of everything. So she didn't see her mother for a year. Did you notice how when she went out of court, her mother was looking? And I thought, why are you looking to see if your daughter will, like, speak to you? She was throwing you under the bus a few years ago, and you've been throwing her under the bus for the last 2 weeks, and yet when she came in the court, you were smiling at her. Like, she's not going to smile at you. And then somebody did say that when Wendi went to kiss her father, I did do a shot, and I froze it so you could see, just so, because they thought that her dad Harvey had pushed her away, but he didn't. But Wendi goes, you know, for him to kiss her. I mean, anyway, I really am going now. I'm going to bed. So don't forget, smash that like button for me. And hit the subscribe and all notifications on it. And in between, I'm going to say good night, stay safe, take care, and come back. See you soon. Bye.